video?
It's on YouTube, yeah.
Oh, boy.
I didn't wear my makeup.
So it's on YouTube live,
Live and recorded,
but there's no, it's not like Zoom.
but we don't have Zoom, no
But
ma'am.
I was just perking up thinking.
Yeah, we don't have, we're no longer use Zoom. We don't have it.
I'm going to call this meeting to order. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have the agenda here. Thank you for preparing all this paperwork, Wes. You always do a great job. Approval of agenda.
Make a motion?
Need a motion, second, and a vote.
Election of officers.
And a vote also,
What?
on the, a
Have to
vote
vote
on the
on the,
agenda.
Oh, okay.
I second it.
So,
Aye.
Aye.
thank you.
Training wheels, Wes. We haven't been here.
It's been a while, I
I
understand.
think it's been longer than a year, hasn't it?
It's been since July,
2021.
since
Yeah.
July.
Okay, election of officers.
So in this, you can ask for nominations for chair if you'd
Okay.
like, and then a nomination for vice chair, or I can do it. So there would be a nomination and then a motion to approve that person as chair, and a second, and then a vote, and then do the same for vice chair.
Okay. So right now I'm chair and Tony is vice chair.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Can I
Tony
make-
Tony
can I-
DiBernardo is vice chair.
He's just not here today.
He was not, he's out of town, out of
Okay.
country.
Okay, cool.
I would nominate Lee Whitley for chair.
I'll second it. Oh, me?
Okay, so just need a vote. We have nomination, motion, and a second.
All in favor?
All in
Aye.
Okay.
And we can nominate Tony even though he's not here,
You
right?
could.
Has he
you can-
expressed any interest in continuing?
He didn't say one way or the other. I didn't ask him.
I'll make a motion to nominate Tony as vice chair.
Okay,
All
very
in
good.
favor?
Aye.
Very good. Thank you.
Also with our meeting package, we have the minutes from the meeting of July 27th.
Everybody got a chance to read through those? If there's no problem, we can make a motion, right?
Yes, I read them. I was not here, so I'll not make the motion.
Okay, you guys are on them.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Thank you.
Public comment?
I don't think we have any.
No, I don't see anybody out there.
All Courtney's friends out there.
Pardon?
Are you Courtney?
I'm Courtney.
Yes, I said all your friends out there, invisible
Oh, well,
friends.
I brought a couple with me, but they're stranded. I don't know.
Oh, gotcha.
Any old business to talk about?
No, ma'am.
New business, Courtney is here with an application for certificate of appropriateness. This is for,
23 Corpus Run.
right,
Mhm.
23 Corpus Run, which is already a designated landmark, and you are proposing to construct an outdoor shower and storage structure and deck expansion. That was designated as a historic landmark on October 3rd, 2017. I think you were our first one, weren't you?
I was.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
So I had a brief meeting with Wes last Friday talking about some new protocols as order of hearing for, we're considering a certificate of appropriateness of the addition to your home, which is an addition. So we have to decide if it's a certificate, if it's appropriate. Do I start with this stuff now? This is the first time we've had,
The comments at the beginning of the hearing,
okay,
start with that.
comments? Do we have?
Are there comments that I can see? I mean, is this?
No. This is just the document I provided that you read, that the other one, it's another sheet.
This one here.
It explains it explains the procedure.
This right here? Oh, I didn't get that one, I don't think. Okay, yes, I have it, I'm sorry. This is not a legislative public hearing where the public is invited to give opinion and provide general comments or guidance to the commission about potential historic landmarks. This is a quasi judicial hearing. Only aggrieved parties may participate. A member of the public may participate if aggrieved. An aggrieved person may give relevant testimony under oath, no opinions, just testimony based on facts. It is just like taking the stand in a courtroom. An aggrieved person is subject to cross-examination by any other party and by this commission, just like court. To be aggrieved under law, you must be directly and substantially affected by the commission's decision. Guidance from past North Carolina cases and the North Carolina School of Government help us understand that to be aggrieved, you must be an immediate neighbor whose property use, enjoyment, and value will be adversely impacted by the board's decision. If you are an aggrieved person and want to participate in this quasi-judicial hearing by giving sworn factual testimony or wish to cross-examine any witness during the proceeding, come forward to the podium to be sworn in.
So that,
You can just stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you shall give to this board in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God? I do.
Okay.
Now this part.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm new to this, and I have to read these questions to each of our members here, okay? Has any commission member communicated with the other commission members, the applicant or town staff about this application?
No.
no,
No.
I mean, I have, but just procedurally, not about the
Application.
application itself. Does any commission member have a fixed opinion that is not susceptible to change?
No.
No.
No. Does any commission member have a close familiar business or associational relationship with the applicant?
No.
No. Does any commission member have a financial interest in the outcome of this matter?
No.
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 The hearing. We're going to call on Courtney to present the evidence.
I am here at the request of the town to apply for an application for, or an okay for a certificate of appropriateness for an addition that's not attached to my existing flat top. That's 6 foot by 18 divided in half to be a shower and a outdoor shower and storage area. That's attached with the existing decking that I did apply for a couple of years ago for a minor certificate for the decking would be just run around to a small deck that's 6 by 12, I believe, in the back. On the west side, I have mostly pictures, photographs to substantiate the best ones I could get for you, and a drawing done by myself, not a construction professional by any means, but in hopes that that would give some idea as to what the thought process was here and the idea for building. I do have a couple of individuals that are professional stuff. The advice of one,
Neil contracting.
yes, that's his line. We've spoken a couple times, it's been a few months. And then I do have Chris Jolly and Jerry Dorman, who had worked with me before. Thanks to Lee a couple of years ago, we were going through the architectural review or the historic landmark process. And I was introduced to Jerry by his installation of the nice markers for us. So, I haven't gone any further with seeking out any assistance there until, we found out what I was or was not able to do here. So that's just kind of an outline. I've had the place 30 plus years, made several changes before the landmark that I obtained. And I was interested in that mainly to, as you all know, would like to keep the town history. And so I hope there are a few more coming along, but, knew that there were restrictions, and that's okay with me. I mean, I can leave this earth and not know I have an outdoor shower, but it would be convenient for my 3 children who will subsequently have that, I'm home. So it's just something I've been thinking about. So all the details are in here. Any real specific construction questions, I can always get back with, but maybe we should just go from here and let you ask me questions.
I do have one question. Well, I probably end up having a few. So do you plan on getting a new survey done prior to doing the work? Or is this the one from 2000? Have you spoken to contractors and they're okay with it? Like nothing has happened structurally, obviously, on the property?
No, and I would presume that I would be told if I needed to get a permit.
Right.
I would obtain the permit, go through the process. And should the survey be required to be updated or brought current, it would be obtained.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't even sought that process.
Right.
I think this is the stopgap here.
Well, 3 out of the 4 members here, I'm not sure if you're in real estate, but the 3 of us are realtors for many, many years. So I think that's where our brains go, just to make sure that, the survey is up to date. And then the other question I had was the draw for the plumbing to the septic for the shower. That's, so it can, your existing septic can accommodate that? Or do you think that you're gonna have to do any work there?
No, the septic was installed a year and a half.
Oh, perfect. So it's
I have-
upgraded.
And that's the subsequent survey.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
It wasn't a new survey, but they went on that survey, and then, because that septic was, I think, the original,
Yes.
or the first and only put in.
Yeah, I think all of ours over the years have had to be changed out for various
So
reasons.
it gave me a long usage. I got my money's worth out of the old one. And so they went on that survey,
That's great. That's a big expense out of the way.
and their septic is, they have the new septic drawn on there, and if you'll see on the 3rd or 4th page, it's zoomed down, so it's a smaller picture of the survey. That in red or in color, I think I added on what the proposed work would be. For me, my little work. Did I outline it in a color?
I'm not sure which page you're referring to.
The survey?
Oh, the survey, yes, I believe you did, yes. Mhm. You did an excellent job, and I want to say thank you for taking such an interest in maintaining your property.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, we get a lot of people coming through town that are not as caring and interested in maintaining, preserving and, these properties, so we do appreciate it. So, the other thing.
Here, thank you. I appreciate that, because I'm usually Johnny on the spot with everything I have, except the interior of my car.
Well, we're not going there. We're not approving that.
Yeah.
The other thing that, just the recommendation that I'm assuming this town staff, Wes, whomever else, but just the approval of the COA without the vinyl gutters, were there planned to do vinyl gutters?
I had vinyl gutters installed before this was on a landmark.
Okay,
But what I did put in was a rain spout.
okay.
A
So
downspout.
that was just because the water was dripping there. That little cup system,
I love that. It's so cute.
well, I never heard of it. And I thought, oh, well, that's kind of neat. I didn't want a gutter. And then I probably would have had to come to you for a minor certificate or something, just to have a vertical piece of something like a downspout put down there, but I didn't want that, and I didn't know what my options were.
Mhm.
And even Chris Jolly suggested the drip system. So then I got on Google and, found all these opportunities, went from there. So I installed that, I have that installed.
You went down that rabbit hole of Google. So is this what is proposed? This is what the,
No,
No.
and, I kind of reviewed all the paperwork last night, and I thought, well, what did I? But I wanted mainly to show a visual of what the open area would be at the top. With that, that's paneling, but I don't think that's cement siding, at all.
Fiberboard.
That was on Pinterest.
Okay,
And I wanted to see without, and then my drawing, which is like the second or third page, the vertical drawing, if you will, which is my artwork. It's supposed to be like a concrete siding.
okay.
I looked at that, I haven't priced it, but
I see.
that was moved as well until I knew we could move on
Mhm.
with this one way or another, with the material, and that would be painted the same colors.
That was
It's like
what
a
I was
hardy
just gonna
plan.
ask. Okay.
So the picture there was primarily to show that the part that would be shower would be open at the top. I've seen those.
Yes,
You know, so
Yeah.
there's some privacy, and not have slats with people that can peek in, or
Right.
family members that walk by and hang a towel out. You can see somebody taking a shower,
Right.
and there's a jaybird. So I was thinking a solid with air at the top and air at the bottom.
Are you going to paint it the same color as your house?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So I have the blue now, it
Yeah.
was yellow for years until I
Yeah.
found out yellow uh, fades, believe it or not, much easier. And I've had that blue one for a while, so
Mhm.
yes, I would like to keep it the same color.
Well, all I wanted to say is that I was on the architectural review board for Southern Shores, I keep hitting this, when I was at Kitty Hawk Land Company for many years in Chickahawk. And what you submitted would perfectly be okay with that committee in the past. I don't know about now, but if I had gotten submissions for additions as well thought out and prepared as this one, it would have made my job a lot easier. So thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome again. I don't know what other opportunities there are for construction materials other than ODS, and I really didn't want that, even though that's probably less expensive. It's rougher, and I don't know how long it lasts, and I was hoping I could use something that was substantial and could be painted the same color and was smoother in surface. So then the white woodwork, the blue, and if I have the flat top, which is what I was proposing, then that would look the same as what's up there.
thank you for answering my questions.
Yes. The only thing I do want to, that I see I didn't, oh, yes, I did. Open at the top, the shower, the vertical drawing, I put open at the top and at the bottom. So that was the idea, was to have a concrete slab under the storage for whatever the town requires, and then have gravel and then decking over that. That would be level with the concrete and open, so there would be airflow, but privacy. And the shower would be on the south side, and the storage would be on the front side with the window, the glass block window, which I have one on
Right, and so it would match.
in the kitchen. So the glass block that's existing in the kitchen is facing west. This would be facing north, so when somebody pulled up on the street side, they'd see the little glass block window there. And you can get, there is a bevy of choices at Home Depot, which is where I got this one.
Okay.
A size, that's in, what's the word, proportions to the wall. You know, maybe tweaked a few inches. I know there's one or two sizes that either one larger or one smaller, but I think this is the size that would probably work best.
Okay. Wes, is this when I asked the town to present evidence?
Or there's actually an opportunity for me to ask questions.
Okay.
And I did have one. You state that there is approximately 4 feet from the side property setback of 15 feet. So just to clarify,
And
it's,
that's my approximation based on the pin which I presume is the marker between the properties. There is a pin on the road, on the west side of the property, standing on the street. There is a street pin. Am I correct in saying that that is the line? So I went by that, walked it, marked it, and I had, for months, I had stakes out there. So when I come, I can re-walk and rethink and look, and had other family members and a few other folks, Jerry Dorman and Christoph. But anyway, to answer your question, that's an approximation. I'm not a surveyor.
Okay.
So that's the
So-
best estimation.
So you're at, according to your estimation, then the outermost, the westernmost portion of the structure would be 19 feet from the property line.
Yeah, if you calculated, if your math is better than mine.
So yeah, the setback, the survey is an older survey, so it shows a 10-foot side setback. It's actually 15. And you correctly say that there is a 15-foot setback, and you're saying that you're 4 feet from that.
Plus or minus.
Okay, so-
And hopefully I'm well within that.
So should the certificate be approved today and you move forward with applying for a building permit and zoning permit, we'll need to make sure that is the setback.
Yeah,
And-
and I went through that process years ago when Mike Adek was the building inspector.
Okay.
He and I had an ongoing, so we worked together for several years when he was in, and I had to go through the same. Of course, things change, I get that, but I very well remember the setback. And the back was even more difficult because, it's like 25 or 30 feet if I'm not mistaken.
It's a 25-foot rear
Yeah,
setback.
and that was way back into the live oak, which I've let grown back there just for privacy between the back piece of property owners and myself.
Okay.
And I can't even crawl back in there and expect to get out. So I have the east side marked with some painted PVC pipe that go over the stakes where the lines were set by the survey
Okay.
that we had done 25, 30 years ago when I had it on there.
Okay. And kind of to go back to Ms. Cush's question, we most likely would require an as-built survey prior to issuance of a CO. I would accept a site plan similar to what's submitted, showing that it meets the 15-foot side setback, and then we would require an as-built at the end demonstrating compliance.
You can't use an affidavit?
We would use an as-built survey.
We will require that, or the building inspector's office?
The planning department, not our office.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the as-built survey is something that can be obtained through the survey company?
A surveyor, yes, ma'am. Mhm.
Okay,
And you could use the same ones, Doug Styons, he's still currently practicing. And I would suggest using him since he already has all the data for the property.
and just ask for as-built.
As-built survey after the work, when the work is almost finished.
Oh, that comes after the work is almost finished. Wouldn't I want to ascertain that I am within,
You could do it as well, yeah, for your application, you could have a new survey done prior to issuance of a permit when you apply. But I'm saying to make sure that it was constructed in the location you proposed and that it does meet the setbacks, a surveyor will have to show that on a survey.
so can I back up a minute? So I'm presuming, and I don't like presuming, and that's like, because I'm a retired healthcare provider, and I like to know what facts are, so that's why this kind of meeting is good. That the survey that was done was correct, but how do I know?
Surveyor, yeah.
So based on that, how do I know that anything that was built prior to the architectural review, I guess, is moot? What we're interested in is, how do I know that the old building, and whatever I did subsequently, but prior to the historic being set up years
Well,
ago?
for the as-built survey, they will go out and measure it again. They will let you know what you have at that very minute.
but that was near the end of the building.
No, I would call them right away and see if they
So I
could
can't
come.
do that.
Yeah, call them right away because they're backed up anyway.
Right.
You want to call them immediately, get them maybe to flag the lines,
They can do that, yeah.
and then they
Then
can,
I can see the lines, Lee, that they put out
Right.
and see how
Yes.
close that's what I want to know.
Yeah, you can-
Get out
yeah, they'll
there.
come out and flag it for you, and then they can flag the edge of the proposed structure, right?
These distances, I mean, this was done in 2000. I'm sure that none of the distances should be any different, but no, yeah. The as-built survey is required. If you want to have them
No,
go
I
out,
get- I get that.
yeah, you can have the surveyor go out at any time prior to applying and having him mark wherever you want them to mark.
That's exactly what I like.
Right.
Because what's the sense of spending money and time?
Yeah, you need to call them right away, though. I've been waiting for a surveyor for something in Kill Devil Hills for a couple of months. Not this one, I think I'm gonna call him instead.
Everybody's
Yeah,
back
for the
up.
back and the side. I'm just presuming that the pins that, and I think there's something that's on the, it doesn't matter, but let me know that I had a sideline there too.
Very good. That's the only question that I had.
So an as-built survey, and then just have that, I can get the lines marked for my own benefit to be sure I'm
Yes.
doing what I'm
Yes, ma'am.
permitted to do.
Yes, ma'am.
Without a waste, okay.
And that additional concrete slab that's proposed is well within your lot coverage, obviously.
Oh, there was a percentage.
No, I'm saying it is. I mean, you have plenty of,
There's plenty of room.
yeah.
Okay. You figured.
Visit my house. We can't even put a little piece of concrete.
I thought it would be, it's just such a small area.
But it's a large lot. It's over 15,000 square feet, so you're well within your range. You don't have to worry about that.
That was the only question that I had.
Okay, so that was a question, and I'm calling on the town to present evidence.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chairperson. There was included in the packets the staff report for the certificate of appropriateness. And again, this is for 23 Porpoise Run. Property is zoned RS1, Single Family Residential District. And I'll just read this into the record. The applicant is proposing to construct an outdoor shower and storage structure and deck expansion at 23 Porpoise Run, which was designated as a historic landmark on October 3rd, 2017. Town Code Section 17-4B1 states that from and after the designation of a landmark, no exterior portion of any building or other structure, including masonry walls, fences, light fixtures, steps, and pavement, or other appurtenant features, nor any above-ground utility structures, nor any type of outdoor advertising sign shall be erected, altered, restored, moved, or demolished on such landmark until after an application for a COA as to exterior features has been submitted to and approved by the commission. Such a certificate is required to be issued by the commission prior to issuance of a building permit or other permit granted for the purpose of construction, altering, moving, or demolishing structures, which certificate may be issued subject to reasonable conditions necessary to carry out the purposes of the requirements. Section 17-6A states that no COA should be granted unless the commission finds that the application complies with the principles and guidelines adopted by the commission for review changes. It is the intent of these regulations to ensure insofar as possible that construction, reconstruction, alteration, restoration, moving or demolition of building structures or pertinent fixtures, outdoor advertising signs, or other significant features of landmarks shall be congruous with the special character of the landmark. The commission's currently adopted principles and guidelines contain the following guidelines that town staff finds are applicable to the proposed work. B, rehabilitation means the act or process of making possible an efficient, compatible use for a property through repair, alterations, and additions while preserving those portions or features that convey its historical, cultural, or architectural values. Number 9, under B, new additions, exterior alterations, or related new construction will not destroy historic materials, features, and spatial relationships that characterize the property. The new work will be differentiated from the old and will be compatible with the historic materials, features, size, scale, and proportion, and massing to protect the integrity of the property and its environment. Number 10, new additions and adjacent or related new construction will be undertaken in such a manner that if removed in the future, the essential form and integrity of the historic property and its environment would be unimpaired. With respect to a recommendation, town staff recommends approval of the COA, however, without the vinyl gutters. The use of fiber cement siding for new construction and additions to historic buildings is not uncommon. Vinyl gutters and the use of vinyl, however, is. That is staff's recommendation.
I have a question. If we approve the COA, at which time it's decided who's going to do your work, do they submit maybe a list of building materials that they'll be using?
Since this is tied into a certificate of appropriateness and this is historic landmark, whatever they apply for has to be exactly what was approved.
Okay. Just to
And
make
we
sure.
will, and in order to confirm that, we will request materials list and review
Okay.
everything to make sure that it is consistent with what you all approved.
Because we know some contractors will be diligent, in keeping with what we're recommending, and some will not.
So-
Supply chain problems or, excuses like that. I just want to make sure that, we can make sure the materials list is what the planning department needs you to
And
use.
to back up just a minute, just for verbiage that I understand what applying, so I know what the COA is, Certificate of Appropriateness, but what are we applying for? What are you speaking of when you say, when they apply for? Are you speaking of a permit or are
Yes.
you?
A building
what-
permit.
The building,
So either whether I obtain a permit or whether Neil Construction obtains the permit for me,
Right.
then once the permit, and I'm asking because I don't know the process. So the permit is obtained, and then the materials list is ascertained based on what we're looking at here. And then the materials list has to be appropriate as to what was approved.
Right.
And so will I have the benefit of the whatever you're looking at so I know what is not approved, so I can hand whoever is doing my work what isn't approved, or is there only one item not approved and that's the vinyl?
I think that's a West question specifically, right?
Well,
Obviously.
if the commit, let's, for example, if the commission approves the COA without the vinyl gutters, then you could submit your application package with everything minus the vinyl gutters. That's what should be given to your contractor, and that's what's used to apply.
So then there's a hard copy of something that states and everything
You
is
were-
approved, but vinyl gutters.
You will receive you will receive a certificate, you will receive document, and you will receive a written decision that outlines what the action the commission is taking.
That's good.
Yep.
Documentation in case my notes don't make sense.
Yes, ma'am. You'll receive an explanation of what was approved.
Good.
If that's what in fact is what the commission chooses to do.
So as bouncing forward, let's say they're under construction and her contractor can't get the fiber cement board and wants to put vinyl siding up there.
I'm not putting vinyl siding.
Understand, I'm just saying
And
if.
we're going to approve the materials here
Yeah, but I'm
today.
just saying, if that should happen, we wouldn't be involved, but you'd have to go back to Wes, right?
If that were to happen, then she would have to, and she still wants to construct a structure with a different material, she will have to come back to the commission.
We're gonna
Okay.
start over again.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Well, there's no worries there.
okay,
If I can't get vinyl, if I can't get cement
Yeah.
siding,
right.
I'll either pay one of my children to bring it down from Virginia, or I'll sit and wait. I've waited this long for.
Okay,
Okay, I'm not an advocate of mine.
okay, it was just,
You know,
I was just
the
throwing,
gutter thing was
Right.
like, okay, what else do I have? Copper. I didn't think that was even appropriate.
Right.
On this building, so.
Wes, I would like to clear up the vinyl gutters. Did you say the vinyl gutters were there?
Okay, no, they were put on before the.
Right, they are there
before
now.
I was the first to apply for the historic.
Okay, are they on the house
House.
now?
Yes, sir. on the
Okay,
back.
so we are not approving the vinyl gutters, is that correct?
That's the town staff's recommendation.
Okay, the recommendation, okay. What's the process? Are we gonna, if we approve this certificate of appropriateness, it will exclude the vinyl gutters?
If you all want to approve the certificate of appropriateness, and if you want to exclude vinyl gutters, someone would state that in a motion.
Now, say if we do that, are we gonna require her to take the vinyl gutters down?
That's not what's in consideration, no, sir.
Okay, that clears it up. We're just not,
Adding to.
Right, we're just here for the
Okay,
addition on the
okay.
shed.
Correct, yes, sir. This is just for the addition.
Okay, I'm ready to,
I just
Well,
want
let
to,
me- I'm just thinking while you're, if I may interject, is there other material that I can use as a gutter? The only reason the gutter had been recommended to me was to protect the decking on the picture that runs alongside the siding of the building, which is between the existing structure and the new, from dripping on that decking.
Mhm.
That was it. And it would be on that side. So I know I get the vinyl. Is there another, is in order to preserve the integrity of the flooring, which the contractor said would be a good idea. But I mean, the cottage that was there, that was there years without a gutter, I didn't have but sand there, so I can't speak to that. And maybe some of you know from personal experience, but is there another gutter material I can use that would be appropriate? Or just plain no gutters, and if the decking becomes no good, then I have to replace that?
I would want to do some research on that, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just talk to your contractor and see what they recommend, especially Neil. Neil, they're great.
I think for our purposes right now, we should just leave the gutters alone. Accept them from the appropriateness and,
The vinyl.
I do have a question, Wes. So the original COA, or the original one that was approved it with vinyl gutters on the house, right?
So there was a minor COA issued for the deck that she explained earlier, but when the property was designated, there were vinyl gutters on the structure.
Yeah,
So-
on the back, and then I have what is like a diverter. It's a piece that they said they didn't have to bend, but they put under the roof. So when I walk to the door, on the side door, there's no awning or anything. The water, if it's pouring rain, the water just drips this way. It's like a 90-degree angle, a piece of, I don't know what it is, but it's up there. It's about 3 feet long.
Well, the town recommends not to put vinyl gutters, but the house already has vinyl gutters.
Right.
So I'm trying to understand the rationale for recommending not to do something that's already consistent with the property.
Right, well, the use of vinyl has not been, not commonly approved or used for historic properties. That is town staff's thinking in the recommendation.
And the last house that we looked at was turned down. One of the main reasons was it had a lot of vinyl siding on it. So I guess we just have to kind of remain true to that. And some of these houses got designated as historic landmarks, probably more than Courtney's had vinyl gutters and we missed it, maybe.
I will, I mean, it's really moot, it'll be a long time before the rain drips on the clear,
Right,
that
right.
salt treated decking, but it's clear, there are no knots.
But I think as a,
But even if it's, let me just finish, if I may, the vinyl, as opposed to it as I am, it does go around, there's the white edging on either the soffit or, I guess it's the soffit, that goes vertically this way. And it's a white band all around the edge, and to be perfectly honest with you, it's hard to tell what's gutter, and the gutters are only in the back where the decking is. But, I'm okay with it, it's not I mean, it doesn't really affect the building. It just helps keep the integrity of the decking. So, I mean, I'm not arguing with that. I'm just thinking, okay, what else could I use? So, and I get your point if there's vinyl on there, but it's really not that big of a deal to me.
My inclination is to improve it with the exception recommended by, in the same language that the town staff recommends.
Are you making a motion? Are we ready to make a motion?
And I'll make one suggestion. Also, whoever makes the motion, I would suggest that they also state that the application, and this is in the staff report, complies with the principle and guidelines adopted by the commission for review changes, and it is congruous with the special character of the landmark. These would be your reasons for approving the application.
Okay, so just having that verbiage in the
Yes, ma'am.
motion, for the
Yes.
motion, okay.
If it's easier, you could just refer to what I just,
That would be great. Where is
Set.
that? Because we're all looking for it.
It's in two places, I
It's-
think.
it's-
Would you like to make that motion?
and yeah, if you want to just refer to how I just read it, you can do that in your motion. You don't have
I'd
to
like to make a motion to refer how, to approve the COA with how Mr. Haskett just specified about it being congruous, with the exception of vinyl gutters.
Action.
Steps, you're good, so, right, Wes?
Yes, ma'am. So at this point, you or your contractor can start the process of submitting an application. Contact, as Chairperson Whitley suggested, contact a surveyor because they are busy. And then they can mark the property for you, and you and your contractor can discuss submitting your application for a building permit, and we'll go from there.
And then what's my next step is first question. Second question, is there a time period? Of course, I'm going to start, I'll call Stein this week, but do I have a timeline on this from today's date and certificate of appropriateness approval to, I mean, I'd like to know this isn't going to drag on. I'm not getting any younger.
Right. I don't think that there is an expiration on COAs.
I just want, I'm going to be doing it in a timely manner. What happens with supply chain and
Right.
Scion and anything else that happens, it's okay. And how often I can get down here too.
Right.
So I'm concerned about just meeting your requirements.
Right. Well, I don't think there's an expiration on the COA. As far as a building permit, after a permit is obtained, you have 6 months to start work. And by start work, that means you must have at least one inspection within a 6-month time frame. And that is one of the required inspections, like a piling inspection or,
And the permit is the next step, after I get Scion
yes,
and get the certificate.
Submitting-
Or at least get the markers placed.
submitting an application, yes, ma'am. And
And the
you're,
certificate of,
Adjournment. Slam it.
survey that we're talking about will be supplied after the building, right? Well, while the building's in process, not at the very beginning. The, what's the name of it? The
As built?
As-built.
as-built survey. There it is.
that will be required prior to your final inspection.
Right.
To get your CO, which is your
So I
certificate
need
of
to get that
occupancy.
first, then the permit, and either I myself can obtain a permit.
You can as property
Or
owner,
just get,
or you have a contractor do it.
right, and what are some of the things, just, can you tell me what's on a permit? What is it, besides me paying for one, what is?
The property information, owner information, contractor information, if there is one, a description of work, zoning information for the property, the cost of the project. And depending on the cost, if it's greater than $30,000, you're required to provide an affidavit for workers' compensation. You're also required to provide a surety bond in the amount of $5,000. You would be required to submit a health department permit that showing that they approve it, that it's not going to interfere with the septic system. There's a sheet that talks about materials to be used as well, and a signature page.
if you hire a local contractor, he will be very familiar with all
With
that
all
stuff.
of that,
Yeah.
yeah, and I can remember some of that
All right.
All right, well,
myself.
any other comments?
Nope.
Okay, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's good seeing you all.
Good to see
Ladies,
everyone.
again,
See
good
you.
to meet you.
Good to be you. You're all real estate, huh?
Yes, Miss Courtney, well
I'm
done with
retired.
all of